Is the Hellcannon any good in patch 6.1.2? An old staple of Chaos armies, this single entity cannon has truly come home. It exists in a separate unit cap than the other war machines, so you can unlock more at relatively budget prices. That alone is important. One of you pointed out to me recently it has high accuracy at shorter ranges. Let's go into that and all the rest. Recruit for 1200 gold and 300 upkeep. The iconic Hellcannon arrives on Ultra Scale at 3,957 hit points. It's an externally crude weapon system, and it's not the shoebox its competition is, but the cannon can be individually destroyed, leaving the crew intact but basically worthless, so beware. Armor of 30 is also far lower. Some Chaos Troll or Mischievous Goblin entered 70 into the leadership value, but the unit has the Unbreakable trait. The Offender will be Scourged. Speed is 20, and charge speed is also 20, as while crude, it is a cannot run unit. Melee attack begins at 18, and from appearances of attack interval 4.3 and no splash damage, this is for individual crew members. Melee defense of 14 means don't expect much of them. Weapon strength 28, split base 21, and 7 AP is an old standard. Charge bonus is 5, and the cannon's mass is 2,000. Now for the redeeming part, ranged. Ammunition begins at 25 shots. Range of 420 is just plain high, higher than the Magma Cannon, equal to the Death Streaker. Official missile strength starts at 378, and what's really interesting about this, it's magical attack, but the other trait is not flaming attack, so it'll do what would otherwise be its full damage against fire resistance demons. The other trait is take cover, creating a bonus morale penalty over, being shot with a big fat arcane ball of death, minus 8 leadership for 10 seconds. This means, despite being there to initiate a lot of battles, breaking a unit is possible in the middle of the fight. The direct impact is base 72 and armor piercing 262 damage. Now, single entities will feel that, but not nearly as much as you'd like, since it's one cannon. That's the irony. Chaos Dwarfs have a hard time simply battering single entities from range with just their artillery. The thing is, this has a detonation radius of 7, which is rather fat, in which it inflicts 30 base and 90 armor piercing, and 90 guaranteed damage is enough to completely obliterate a lot of infantry in the game, and if not obliterate, then gouge out huge chunks from things like Chosen. The downside is that it's one shot per volley. Reload time of 12 seconds is probably what the self-propelled artillery was based off years later, but the downside of being a solo show is acute. Total accuracy starts at 30, calibration distance of 350 means it's extra wonky past that. Calibration area 12 means that its default drift is still lower than some, and we've all seen the homing effects, especially when the AI is using one. There is a small penetration cap, so a maximum of a couple of orcs might get penned before the explosion, which should still obliterate those orcs. Aside from Unbreakable and Cannot Run, this classic unit does not use the Contempt mechanic, has the Blood active ability, 18 seconds duration, 60 seconds cooldown for a burst of 25% more speed, and a bit of acceleration to boot. And boom! 15 seconds duration, 90 seconds cooldown, plus 20% AP explosion damage, plus 25% not AP explosion damage. The impact part isn't affected. I guess this is for when you want a couple of big shots against, actual Chosen, and kill entities, not maim them. In the Redline skills, Hellforged Ordnance at 3 pips grants plus 20% ammunition and plus 10% range. Now, you're not necessarily going to fire that much ammo in a battle, as in the enemy would rather not let you, but 462 range, gimme. Bloodied Bombardment grants missile strength plus 12% for direct hits, plus 12% for the explosion components, which is awesome, 10% reload time reduction, and 15% missile resistance, since 30 armor is not high. In the tech tree, Continuous Bombardment is plus 10% ammo, plus 10% missile damage, and plus 10% explosion damage, and the cherry on top is Weapons of War, 10% discount for unlocking more, plus 10% speed, and plus 5% range. I guess the speed does apply to all the artillery. Okay, so the Hellforge increases go like this. Plus 15% ammunition is great if you have nothing else, just in case. 1,000 barrier hit points is 25% of the entire unit's health, so a huge increase in durability potentially. I don't know how much HP it takes to actually break the cannon itself. Extra powder is just racking up the score, making your first 6 shots before ammunition buffs obscenely powerful against infantry and pretty rocking against ordinary cavalry as well. Forged Fire and Blazing Body are not going to be much help. Hell Bindings would add Hellbound for plus 20% physical resistance. Magical attack already exists, but it would add perfect vigor. So I would absolutely consider it if I was a very heavy Hellcannon user, because that's basically the only place this is going to help at all. Extra reload is basically an ammo butler to feed extra powder, but more damage is more damage. Immunity to contact effects means Ulrika can't just pop her skill and inflict blinded on this unit, but if she's that close it might be done in anyway. That's case by case. So how do we use the Hellcannon? That's easy. You blow stuff up. Take care and have... Okay. There's slightly more to it than that, but not that much. If you have targets that are particularly resistant to fire and you have a choice of artillery, a Hellcannon, or something like a Magma Cannon or a Death Shrieker rocket launcher, you fire the Hellcannon at the resistant target and the others at something else. That means, absent a Flaming Sword of Ruin spell, the Hellcannon is not part of your flaming attack synergies. It is, even at 1 cannon hit point and 1 crew member left, magical attack, so Sirens should wail as they flee for their ethereal existences. So if you have an army that's not built around these synergies, blunderbusses instead of fireglaives, renders not Kadai, Iron Demons not magma cannons, the Hellcannon fits right in and does work. You should never approach a battle with the mindset that the Hellcannon will win that battle for you. You should approach it with the mindset that the Hellcannon will extract blood from the enemy with impunity until the enemy gets closer. You pick which enemies. You pick higher value enemies that are preferably not single entities. You fire again and again, but you have a real battle to fight to make that advantage work out in your favor. There are obvious problems. If you're fighting an accurate cannon battery, you could lose the Hellcannon for nothing. If you're facing lots of flyers and can't deal with them, melee will obliterate your cannon. Those are the risks you take. Manage them and it will rack up the damage, and do it with a positive go-getter attitude. I mean, just look at this thing. It's so happy. And those dwarfs love what they do. Although, unlike goblin laborers, you have to actually pay them. Finally, it's hard to appreciate moment to moment, but that extra morale debuff is the sort that immunity to psychology can't stop. So combined with terror units if mortal, or loads of damage if not, and loads of damage helps anyway, units are more vulnerable to routing, crumbling, disintegrating, or retreating to the realms of chaos than otherwise. Even single entities that are not unbreakable can be affected. Take care and have fun firing a little hell out of your big gun.